Hey everybody, this is a clip from the latest episode of
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Investigation says police were called around 10:30 p.m. Friday night about a man sleeping in a car in a Wendy's drive-thru. Police say that man, Brooks, failed a field sobriety test and then resisted arrest. In video taken by a bystander, you can see a struggle. According to the GBI, the yellow object in the officer's hand is a taser. Eventually, Brooks appears to swing at an officer before taking off with the taser. Wendy's surveillance video, released by the GBI, picks up where that video ends. What you see is Brooks running from the police. At one point, he appears to turn back towards the officer and discharge the taser before turning back around and continuing to run. You then see him fall to the ground. Here's the moment Brooks appears to discharge the taser and the officer fires. Here it is once more in slow motion. Brooks was shot, taken to the hospital where he died, the GBI said. Attorneys representing Brooks' family spoke out last night.
Why not talk to him as a human being and say, hey, buddy, maybe you had too much to drink. Leave your car here. Take Uber. I've seen it happen before, but that didn't happen. Instead, they got physical. He ran. He did have the taser, but according to law, a taser is not a lethal weapon. So he didn't have a lethal weapon in his hand. He was running with the taser, and then they shot him. It's just, it didn't need to happen.
Garrett Rolfe, the police officer who shot and killed Brooks, has been terminated, Atlanta police spokesman Carlos Campos tells CNN. The second police officer, Devin Brosnan, has been placed on administrative duty. And the police chief is stepping down.
Well, this is what happens when we're looking. This happened while we're looking. Today is the 21st day of Black Lives Matter's protest all across the world. Not just here, not just in New York, not just in Atlanta, not just in Seattle, not just in all over the world. London, Paris, all over the world. Okay, there are Black Lives Matter protests, and so this is what happens when we're looking. Can you imagine what happened prior to us looking? Can you? This is an epidemic in this country. We live in an apartheid state, you know, and you've got white supremacists, and over in London you have what they call football hooligans and white supremacists over there. We have them here. And they're all trying so hard for us to be an apartheid state. They're all trying so hard to turn the clock back to black codes and Jim Crow laws and separate but equal and colored drinking. And it's just never going to happen. And I almost feel bad for those people because they're eaten up with fear and hatred. What else could make them so mean? They won't win. You know they won't win. This horrible episode over the weekend, you know, I swear to God, you know, the idea that if you were a white guy or a white girl and you were in your car, first of all, let me just explain what happened with Rashard. I don't know if you know that there is an entire video from beginning to end of the encounter with the first police officer, who then calls a second police officer to administer a field sobriety test. It's 43 minutes long. And for over a half an hour of this video, the second officer who was called to administer the field sobriety test messes around so hard, plays with Rashard Brooks. He plays with him for like 30 freaking minutes until he, you know, it's almost like he's trying to make this guy, who is a really calm dude. He's a quiet guy. He's, obviously he's drunk. apparently he came to see he's got a wife, he's got children, and he came to see his 8-year-old for her birthday and to visit his mother's gravesite. That's why he was in Atlanta. That's what he was doing there. He was in a rental car because he had driven there. He dropped his rental car off in a Wendy's parking lot. His wife came and picked him up. She met him at the Wendy's parking lot. She took him back to a hotel where they were hanging out. Obviously, they had something to drink. And then she brought him back to his rental car in the Wendy's parking lot, and he thought he would get some hamburgers and go back. He drove his car drunk from the parking space to the drive-thru, which was yards, and fell asleep in the drive-thru. That was his big crime. He was drunk and he drove from a parking spot to the drive-thru and he fell asleep, probably because he had been driving all day. And he had drank. For black people, being drunk or DUI, that's a death sentence. Just like vagrancy is a death sentence, theft is a death sentence. Not for white people, just for black people. And so the first cop knocks on his window because he gets a 911 call saying that there's a guy asleep in the drive-thru line. And he knocks on Richard's window and says, hey, my man, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he wakes up and he says, look, take your car and go. The police officer goes back to his car. Richard Brooks falls back asleep. So the cop goes back to the car and then says, you know what, I told you to go and you just fell asleep again. So now pull over into this parking spot and stay in your car. He obviously is drunk. And he's very friendly and he's very cordial and he's very amenable and he's, whatever. And he gets out of the car. He goes, I can't find my wallet. I mean, he's drunk. That cop calls the second cop. The second cop shows up and he plays with Richard Brooks. He toyed with the guy for well over a half an hour. And then he goes, finally, after a half an hour of follow my finger and follow my finger. Now take 9 steps forward, heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. Then take 9 steps back, heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. Now lift your leg up and stand there till I tell you to put it down. And I want you to count 1001, 1002, 1000. He counts to like 1018. And the police officer go, no, keep going, keep going. He's playing with him. He's trying to get him to snap. And he doesn't. He does not. And then he goes, finally, after like 22 minutes, he goes and he gets the field sobriety, the blow kit, right? And he blows in it. Now, 0.8, I believe, is legally drunk to drive, too drunk to drive. And he's 0.2 over. He's 0.1. Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what DUI. Whoa. I don't know what DUI is anymore. But anyway, they say you're too drunk. You're too drunk to get in your car. Richard says, "Listen, it's okay. I'll leave my car. I'll leave my car here. I can walk to my sister's house. That's how close my sister lives. So listen. I just don't want to do anything wrong. I will leave my car. I will walk to my sister's house." Oh no, that's not good enough. They put handcuffs on him. And this is in the middle of everything we've seen and heard in the last few days with Arbery, with George Floyd being compliant and still ending up dead. And he gets scared and he freaking takes off after they attempt to tase him. He grabs the taser because he doesn't want to be tased.